Yeah, we can start.
Yeah. So, shall we? Okay. So, Mr. Ottman, you are incredible multi-talent, and you did score for one of the best comic movies, X2 United.
I agree.
You composed and also edited one of the best movies in movie history, The Usual Suspects, according to IMDb and my opinion. And you also directed, edited, and scored a horror movie, Urban Legend, which was #1 hit at box office in the United States. And it's an amazing career in movie business. And I would like to ask you, which part of filmmaking do you prefer? Is it scoring or editing or directing?
Well, scoring is my favorite thing. Editing to me is fun for about 3 weeks, and then I'm really completely over it. And then I realize I have another year or a year and a half of it. So, I love directing, but I just decided to go back into film music for a while. It's a long story. I was offered a bunch of teen movies after I did Urban Legends, and wrong or right decision, I'll never know, but I was like, I don't want to do teen movies, so I went on and kept scoring films.
Yeah.
But you know, it really depends on what, you know, if I've been scoring films back to back for, you know, you're looking for something new. So then directing becomes very attractive. Then after you've been on directing a film for a year and a half, you're completely burned out doing that, and I want to go back to write a score. So, and then sometimes I tell myself, well, it'd be fun to go edit now, but that doesn't last long. Yeah.
Okay, so the next question. So when you compose music for the movie, is it better for you writing music during shooting or after?
After. I mean, it would be fun to write a piece of music like I think Ennio Morricone did for One Day in the West. What was it called? Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yes.
And he wrote this piece of music beforehand, and he would play it on the set. That would be really fun to do. But in today's movies, that's impossible, pretty much. We don't give the space for long segments of music anymore. So 99% of the time, you're writing music to picture, and the picture is dictating to you what you're going to do.
Okay. So who is your favorite composer, and who is inspiring you the most?
Well, everyone knows Jerry Goldsmith is my idol. He was my Jesus, you know. You know, I pretty much learned stylistically through him and John Williams and the composers I grew up with, obviously, and which I think I grew up in the heyday of film music. I think when I was watching films as a kid, I happened to be a young guy in the late 70s and early 80s when I think a lot of these classic films came out, and I think it was the best era of film music.
So just for your information, on our magazine we have 5 profiles of conductors, and there is John Williams, Jerry Goldsmith, and John Ottman.
Really? Wow. Wow. What are they doing on there? Thank you.
Yeah.
Very, very honored.
So the fourth question is, I read one funny trivia about The Usual Suspects, and I would like you to ask if it's a myth or true.
Okay.
So according to this trivia, you realized that one important scene is missing, and you shooted it in your garden because production was run out of money. So how was it?
Well, it wasn't because we ran out of money, it's just because it was inexpensive to do it that way. I mean, I don't know what the money reasons were. It was actually in Brian Singer's backyard, where actually it was the backyard of the guy he was renting a room from. And I remember this now. We needed a couple shots of how the fire started on the boat, because I changed the story. It used to be a bomb was set and blew up the boat, but it wasn't working that way. So it had to be a fire, but we had no way to start the fire. So I thought, well, what if Kaiser Soze is smoking and drops his cigarette, and there's a lot of oil on the boat anyway. So we needed those connecting shots. So I'm trying to remember who was the hand and who was the foot. I think I was the hand. So we went to Brian's roommate's backyard, and we put a little mock-up of the boat on there, and That's right. I did the dropping of the cigarette close up, and then he was the foot that went over the cigarette.
Yeah. That's great. So now there are questions from my colleague
Okay.
behind camera. So his question is: editing is one of the most important creative tasks in making movie. Why do you use it, and why do you like it? And is your talent for composing music helpful for this task?
Yeah, well, I think both editing and music are telling stories, you know, and I think the best film composers are those who are really just concerned about telling a story, and then obviously those are the best editors who are just concerned about not a bunch of masturbation cutting, but mainly about telling the story correctly. So they work hand in hand in terms of sensibility. I'm forgetting the first part of the question. Oh, the editing. The editing.
Yeah, editing. Mm-hmm.
The editing is the most important thing in a film, even though I hate doing it. You know, the editor is the filmmaker. Everything boils down to the editor. All the problems are thrown into the editor's lap. The editor is the diplomat between the studio and the director. The editor is dealing with visual effects problems. The editor is dealing with what needs to be reshot. It's just it's the laundry list of what an editor's responsibilities and pressures are immense. And yet it's the only major person on a film who doesn't make any royalties or residuals.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, but yeah. So I mean, editing is it's a weird thing for me. I mean, it fulfills some filmmaking needs of mine, but boy, the price is big because I lose a lot of scoring work. You know?
Yeah. So what was the first in your case, film editing or music composing? And if you will have to, yeah, it's definitely which you will do choose. So it's definitely composing, but
well, the editing came first because that's what I went to film school and I was editing people's movies, and you heard the story. I was editing Brian's first feature, and the composer dropped out, so I wrote the score, and then from then on, as I say, the blackmail began, where he wouldn't let me just score the film unless I was also the editor, and it continues to this day.
So, which film you find out is a masterpiece from editorial and soundtrack point of view? Like from both, probably.
Wow.
Maybe The Usual Suspect.
Well, aside from my own work, I don't know. You know, the original Alien is one of my all-time favorite movies. I would say it's going off your question a little bit, but in terms of sound design, I'm changing your question.
Yes.
Brilliant, because if you think about those days, they didn't have automatic faders or anything like that, and you hear that sound design with all these custom-made sounds, not anything you've heard before, manipulated and mixed in such an inspired way that now when I just hear sound effects from that film, I get freaked out. Aside from the brilliant score that survived in the film and the filmmaking, you know, I just think it's sort of a masterpiece. You know, of course, all the people I know are younger than I am, and they all think Aliens is the best one, but it's not.
So it's definitely the first one. So thank you for your time.
Oh, sure.
And just a moment. So last thing is. So this is our national care.
Thanks.
So it's local.
I need this in the editing room on this movie.
Okay.
Believe me, this will be empty. No.
No.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. Fantastic.
So
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.